Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Saturday night here with me, Peter Driver, Piscari Fly. We're based here in Kilkenny, Thomastown, Ireland, and it's that time of the week again. Flies by, doesn't it? How you doing to everybody? Ken Woodward, spring is surely in the air. Robert Flaherty's on there, James Gibson. Hello, everybody, and I hope you all had a great week. Hope you're all looking forward to tonight. Hope everyone's well and safe, and James Gibson on there, and it's a sad night, maybe last show. It is, folks. This is our last. Hi, James Hope. Arthur Windrum's on there. Dennis Goolan. Hey, Dennis, yourself. How are you keeping, buddy? This is our last show, our last Saturday night show for this series. Shorty, how are you, Connor? Aidan Gill's on there. Christopher Crotty, how you doing? Last end of the show, Jared Lennon. How you doing, Jared? Patrick Smith. Great to see everybody back on here. Hope everyone's had a good week. Hi, James. Hope. And Patrick Smith's on there as well. Michael Callaghan. Great to see us all back. Hi, Luca. Luca's on there as well. No worries, Brennan. No worries. John Kelleger's on there. Patrick Burke. Great to see you all there. Noah, how you doing, Noah? Hello to everybody. So, yeah, Saturday night again. Hard to believe, isn't it? Kieran Sherlock. How you doing, Sean Dolan? It's the last show of the series, folks. It's the last one. I think we've been going for nearly 23 weeks, is it? We missed one at Christmas. We missed one 2 weeks ago. But other than that, we've been here every Saturday night pretty much over the winter. And there is more to come. Don't be too sad. It's going to be bigger and better next October. Got lots of big plans for how you doing, Colin Healy, Ross Enright, Darius is on there. We got big plans for our live shows next winter. We'll be with you all next winter, starting in October. The season's here now. How you doing, David Coughlin? The season is just about to break open here for me anyway. I know some guys have had to look. I've been able to get on the river for the last couple of weeks, but I haven't had the pleasure. St. Patrick's Day on Wednesday will mark the opening of the trout season fully across Ireland, and it's good. The evenings are going to get longer. We're all going to be out and about, please God, fishing the rivers and stuff like that. So you don't want to be sitting in on a Saturday night listening to me babble on. You just want to be out on the river catching those trout, guys, putting all those good flies you tied all winter into practice. And I am going to miss it all, though. I must admit now, I really am. I'm going to miss everyone. I've really enjoyed the shows. I've enjoyed the feedback. I've enjoyed the chat and the crack we've had every Saturday night. It certainly helped me through a long, hard winter. And I hope it certainly has given you some little bit of a relief too, even if it's only two hours on a Saturday night. But we're here. Let's have a bit of fun tonight. Great to see so many people on. If you're on there, hit the share button. Sorry about that, James. How you doing, Paul Burke? Hit the share button there. Get a few people on. We got a lovely show lined up for you tonight. Lots of spot prizes. Dave Donovan's back here with his trivia, his final trivia of the season. And let's see if Graham Lanigan can pull this one out of the bag, Graham. I hope you're on the ball tonight. How you doing, Terry? You're very welcome, and thanks for your contribution, as always, Terry. Terry Phillips there from the UK has been on with us here every Saturday night, and he did a fantastic tying section for us there a couple of weeks back. So how you doing, John Walsh? John Walsh is on there. Kieran Sherlock's. How you doing, Vincent? Vincent Kelly's on there. Patrick McCarthy. Great to see so many people on. So what we've got lined up for you tonight is kind of how you doing, Kevin? What we've got lined up for you tonight is kind of a couple of patterns, a couple of river patterns. We'll go back to the rivers and we'll go favourites to the nymphs. Stuff that I've been tying in the last week that I'm going to be fishing on Wednesday. Okay? Rivers are high, heavy, it's cold. Graham Lanigan says, Jesus, thank God for the last question from Dave. Be on the ball now tonight, Graham. I'll have you back to know big time tonight. But some of the stuff that I've been tying during the week, getting a few nymphs ready. I haven't got too many in my box. I've been too busy tying everyone else's nymphs for the last couple of months. But managed to get a bit of time to tie up a few nymphs and a dry fly. So I'm going to tie those for you tonight. Not massively out of the ordinary or revolutionary, but really, really effective nymphs I find in March, early March, cold, deep water. It's they're good patterns, really good patterns. Definitely ones for the box, Luca. If you still got a bit of room left in those boxes there. So we're going to kick off tonight anyway. We got a lot to get through tonight. Got lots of spot prizes to give away tonight. Graham Lanigan, good man, Graham. How you doing, Declan? Declan Smith there from Dundalk. Good to see you on, Dick. We got lots of spot prizes to give away tonight. So I'll figure out some way along the way to give out a few spot prizes. Say thanks to you all for your fantastic contribution over the last 20 odd weeks. And And we see we have a bit of a spot prize there for Dave's quiz. But we're going to kick off here with a nice caddis pattern. So most of these patterns are based on kind of hare's ears, caddisy kind of big, deep nymphs that are going to penetrate, get down to the bottom, hungry trout looking for a feed, early season, I'm not expecting trout this time of the year. They're quite lethargic this time of year, so they're not going to move for food quite a bit. They're going to be shouldered up in pockets and stuff like that. And so work rate is probably one of the key factors for me. I find in fishing in March, early season, is covering the most amount of water, identifying the key water where fish lie. We'll talk a bit about that as we go through the night. And we got a tack and talk as well tonight with the one and only Mr. Dave Donovan. There's no one else you could really bring on for early season river fishing. Dave is a specialist in rivers, so early season as well. He's been on the rivers for the last couple of weeks, so he's going to fill us in. He's going to fill us in on some approaches, some tackle, and lots of fantastic information there from Dave in a little bit. So that's coming a little while. But let's get started. So I've got a size 12 G hook here in thanks, Jason. I got a size 12 G hook here in the vise, and I got a 4mm slotted tungsten bead on it. I'm going to start off with a little bit of, as usual, with my Tommy Fly number 11, UV reflective tying thread. And I'm going to start off with a little bit. Leave on the waist, actually. I'm just getting my head into this pattern now. So leave on the waist there. Don't take it off, right? And come around the bent hook. And just form a little butt section there. And as always, to trap that Tommy thread in, we pull our waist back up over the top. And that stops that tag from slipping down the hook when we're doing any work or when the first couple of fish get it. Thanks, Josh. Josh Murray's on there. Good man, Dennis. We got Dennis tying a few, so glad everyone got different things out of the show. It's been a long, hard winter, and for a lot of people, some people a lot harder than others. And I'm glad I was able to give a little bit of relief there somewhere along the way and give people a little bit of courage. But the season's here. It's time to look up. As Ken Woodward from our friend from BC said, spring is in the air, guys and girls. It's time to look up now and look onto a summer, whatever it's going to be, or a spring. And, get out on the rivers, get fishing, get the mind healthy, get some fresh air into the lungs. And hopefully a bit of sun will shine will come along the way, and we'll get through the rest of the year. And I'd see he's back here in October for sure. And I think I might do a few pop-ups along the way. I'll do some river stuff. Along the way I might do some shows different from Yes, Kieran. So Kieran's asking, would a slow water beside a fast run be best place for trout to hold up this time of year? So they're still in their winter lies, Kieran. Depending on the river, of course. Like I know, let's say the River Nore. I've just added in my Kevlar. I'm just going to put a little bit of a grey partridge tail on this one. But here on the River Nore, it's a much later river, let's say, than the likes of the Function or the Aubeg or some of those rivers that Dave is going to be talking about a bit later on. But here on the Nore, yeah, they tend to sit back into tailwater, tail ends of pools. For what trout were there that haven't actually a little bit much on that. What trout haven't come back or are still up migrating, kind of they haven't made their way back down from the spawn streams yet. But yeah, definitely, you're looking for slack water. You're looking for water that the fish can use very little energy to sit in. Tailwater, the back end of pools and stuff like that, I find quite good. And normally it can't. Normally you wouldn't really approach that with an infant or Euro infant rig, that kind of tailwater and stuff. But with the extra volume of water this time of the year, you certainly can get in there. It's a bit slower in infant. How you doing, Liam? It's a bit slower in infant, but you can actually get in there and approach that water quite effectively and get some really good results out of it. Sort of in the back eddies and tailwater and stuff like that. Using good heavy jig nymphs, get them down to the bottom, jigging it. Bunging is certainly another option as well. I'm not sure how many people have done much bunging, but it can be an option. Some of those big tailwaters kind of stuff like that. So here I got some Vineyards centipede leg small, and this is dyed olive, and we're going to put this into this fly. And what this is going to do is give it a nice bit of movement. So when we're jigging that along those sandy beds, this time of the year, I'd be doing an awful lot trying to get a lot of articulation into those nymphs, get them moving, get them jigging. If there's a trout sitting there nearby and we happen to just come past his nose, that we'll hopefully give him enough incentive with a little bit of movement there to come up and snap at that nymph. So I'm just going to tie two little legs out the back here. I don't want them too long, I want them nice springy and bouncy. If they go too long, they tend to flop down a bit. I want them to be able to support themselves, but at the same time, if I move or any little microcurrent catches them, they're going to just have a little bit of vibration to them and a little bit of movement to them. I'll just take off those two bits and hold on to them for a little while. Just have them flaring out there over the back. Hey, Dick Colin. Now, for a rib here, we are going to use a little bit of our sulky. A little bit of copper sulky. I love this stuff, especially when I'm doing hare's ears. I always put the copper. And you know, a couple of things I love about this. Some people say, you know, would wire do? Yes, absolutely, wire will do. But this stuff is flat, so if I'm not using this, how you doing, Joe? I'm not. If I'm not using this, I'm using Sabaya flat wire because when I'm tying hare's ears and stuff like that, I find wire can sink into the dubbing too much and it loses its significance. Yes, it's going to protect the fly, but as regards the visual end of it, it's not going to give it any effect. Where if you use kind of flat tinsel or a flat wire, you do get that visual effect. So it won't sink into the dubbing quite as deep as a wire would. So I use that flat tinsel a lot, as you all know by now. A little bit of hare's ear dubbing in for this one. And you know, say this time of the year, keep it simple. You know, it's not about you know, we all have this great romanticism, you know, at the start of the year and oh, I can't wait to get out for the first day, you know, you this visual of the sun shining on your back and you know, a spring morning and flies fluttering about and leaves on the trees and trout, you know, rising and moving and you're getting them at will. It can often be quite disappointing on the start of the season, especially in the region I live in, because I say the rivers here are not early rivers. So you know, it does take a lot of yes, Trevor, I would add weight to the pattern. And in the next fly, which is going to be a very similar kind of caddis pattern, we're going to talk about weight and put good man, John. We're going to talk about yeah, James, it wouldn't be bad. Euro nymph line. I think when it comes to Euro nymph lines, you know, it's a fairly, you know, open ended discussion really. You know, some people ask me what's the best Euro nymph line. It doesn't make a difference. It's not going to get wet. You know, we're actually giving away, James. You could be lucky tonight. We've actually got a new Euro nymph line out. Piscari fly. We've came up with our own Euro nymph line this winter, and we're giving one of them away for free tonight. So keep an eye on that one, James. You might that's going to be a giveaway tonight at some stage. But you know, yeah, look at you know, I don't believe in spending big money on Euro nymph lines. The only time my Euro nymph line ever gets wet is when it's falls in the river or I fall in the river, and that's being totally honest. Dave Donovan's on there. How you doing, Dave? You must have been in pennies. Dave is late. So, do you need backing, James? Yeah, look at the balance your reel and rod, your whole rig up. Backing can be crucial in that sense. So I would say yes. It depends on the reel you're using, depends on the rod. Um, you know, but so I'm going to rib that up and rib it nice and close because I say I want that visual effect of that copper sulky coming out through that double. So I'm going to rib that up along and then turn it back. This is definitely a pattern I wouldn't be without. When I grew up as well, I grew up on the Wicklow rivers, which you know, in May are tough. June, July they can be bloody tough. Lots of trout there, but really difficult rivers to fish. Like you know, and going back to March, early fishing in March, fly fishing up there, like you know what I mean. Geez, you know, you'd be ringing your mates, tell them if you got one trout, let alone catch a couple. You know, it's really tough fishing. The water runs off the mountains, very cold. I like to give this a really good brush out now to get that real nice caddisy look. Um, and you just get that, you can see that little copper rib just subtly coming through. When that thing gets wet, it's like, you know, it's a beautiful effect. It's a real meaty kind of fishy effect to it. But you know, so hare's ears were always a big thing for me to start the season. Big 4 mil, loads of weight hare's ear bombs to get down and drag the bottom of the Avonmore River to try and encourage some kind of a fish that was sitting down there to come out and take me in like. So I've always had a kind of a lenience to head towards Dave Flanagan, good man Graham. Because Dave Flanagan is the only man to get into pennies during the lockdown. So what I'm doing here is I got a little bit of Hen Spectre number 239. Okay. And I'm going to mix that with a little bit of fox squirt. So I got a little bit of UV fox squirt. I'm just going to mix the two together. Just a subtle little bit. Um, So I was saying to me, yeah. So hare's ear is it's my real go-to for this time of the year. Um, Now I have another flight and another nymph tonight that doesn't include hare's ear, which could be quite effective too. Discovered it more later on when I moved down to Kilkenny, but to the River Nore and stuff. But definitely hare's ears are my go-to this time of the year for at least the first month. So dubbed on a little bit of that dubbing there. How you doing, Michael Scully? Robbie Berry says to Dave Donovan, give us all a chance to see him slash show and all. Yeah, Dave's got something different for you tonight, guys and girls. So keep an eye out tonight now. We're going to see who's awake tonight. So adding on a nice little pinch of dubbing there. Whip finish to it. Now you can put more legs in that if you want. You can put two more out to the front. I'm kind of debate on it. I've had nymphs that have worked really well with four legs, and kind of in the last couple of seasons, I've gone for just two legs out the back, two rubber legs out the back. That little bit of bouncing off of that. Um, Sometimes I find four legs can be a little bit overpowering it, and I just want that little bit of vibration. Kind of give it a good brush out. Again, this time of the year, I want buggy, large, caddisy looking. As I say, give them a feed. They're starving. They've been in winter mode all. How you doing, Tony Daly? Winter mode all for the last couple of months, and they haven't been feeding a bit. They're starting to wake up a little bit. You want to give them a bit to eat. So there's a nice simple caddis pattern. Um, no, John, no, they're not. Nice simple caddis pattern. Two little rubber legs out the back. I find that terribly effective. That is definitely one that would be in the box or on my cast. That will be my point fly Wednesday morning when I hit the river, be it the Kings River or the River Nore, whatever I decide to go to. But that will be my point fly, 100%. Um, my point fly for a while to see how things are going, and then I would probably switch if I'm not getting much success. Dave reckons anyone come in tonight, even Graham Monaghan. Got a good question there, Kieran. I'm not quite sure what that would be. If anyone on there has an answer, I'd be really interested in hearing that. Kieran says that he noticed a few fish are flicking their tail at a minky. Any reason for that? Wouldn't have. I wouldn't be able to give you an honest answer, so I wouldn't even chance guessing it. So there we go, folks. There's our first one tonight. A very simple hare's ear caddis grubby, and it's a fantastic one, really good one. Has done served me well over the years. The first couple of thanks James, thanks Trevor, thanks Graham. Served me well over the years, and one definitely that will be getting a good swim on Wednesday. Nice buggy, simple pattern, and has a nice bit of movement in that tail to catch. Hopefully catch. Thanks Archer. Hopefully catches a couple of trout. Don't forget tomorrow will be our last fly giveaway. At some stage tomorrow, I'll put up something to give all the flies that we tied tonight and I've tied beforehand. The stun. So there, thanks Declan. Thanks Robbie. So Declan Conlon reckons the stun is the stun the Minky Kieran, and then obviously to sweep back around and pick it up. But there we go. So we're going to move on to something fairly similar. This one's a bit more power, a bit more beef into it, I suppose. As in regards, just give me a second there now to make a little bit of room here. A bit more beef in this one as regards punching power to get down to those pockets. So I'd say, rivers are heavy. The rivers are heavy. There's a lot of. I'm sure I've got the right. No, that's the wrong box, Peter. The rivers are heavy, and we need a bit of punching power to get down into those pockets at times, depending on the river you fish. So this is one that a lot of you wouldn't know because a lot of people have got it as well. But how you doing, Eugene? Good to have you on there. Eugene Fagan's on with us. Hope everyone's having a good week, guys and girls. The weather's kind of changed a bit this week. A lot more kind of stormy with a couple of snow showers here in Kilkenny. And I think it's to get nice enough again during the week. Mondays to be a stinker. And then after that, we're to get a little bit of mixed sunshine and cloud and stuff. So hopefully it'll be nice for Wednesday. I think no matter what the weather's like, no matter what condition the river is in, I think Wednesday's just going to be a nice day anyway because it'll be just so nice to get out. When did I get everything I need here now, folks? Right, so we're going to go back to a size 12. Slaney High, Neil, is it? So we're going to go back to size 12, and I'm just going to take out another 4 mil bead here for this one, guys and girls. So we're going black. And often, thanks, Ross. Um, yeah, absolutely, Paul. As long as you get out, that's all that matters. This time of the year, absolutely. Just nice to get out, stretch the legs, feel a little bit normal, pull on the waders. I know we can't go far, but sure, look, we can do all we can do is with our best what we have. So I know I've been talking to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks. A lot of guys there, you know, starting to investigate those little streams near the house and little rivers, or maybe more lake-prone anglers starting to head out in rivers and stuff like that, and looking to get prepared and looking for information help. So if anybody out there, is unsure on what approach to take for the next couple of weeks, by all means, pick up the phone and give us a ring. Only be delighted to help you out and give you what information I can to make sure you enjoy your angling experiences early on this season. So don't ever be shy. Our phone is always on here, as you know, and we're always willing to help anyone out. So what I'm going to do here is I've got me tungsten bead on there. I'm going to put on a little bit of flat lead. This is to get an extra bit of weight down there. So I'll put on 4, maybe 5 turns of flat lead. And end up being tree broke away a little bit early, so I'll just use the back end there to get an extra turn or two under. And when you're putting in flat lead or any kind of lead on a body, I don't know, everyone I'm sure has a different kind of an approach to it. I certainly don't put thread between the lead and I don't put any thread between the lead and the hook. I think, if there's any movement there in that lead at all, it will work itself free very quickly after bouncing off a couple of stones and stuff. So I tend to put the lead onto the bare hook, leave it just a little bit shy of the bead, but get it up enough at the butt. I start my thread in behind the lead, and then what I'll do is I'll take the waist over the top, and I'll come in over, and that waist will just stop that thread from completely sinking into that lead up the turns or something like that. It is Kevlar. This Kevlar will cut through the lead if you put enough pressure on it, and that just allows me to get a couple of nice wraps on it and secure that lead really well in place. The reason why you leave it a little bit shy of the bead is it allows me to get a little wedge on both sides of that lead, so there is no movement on it. It's well secured in. Now, of course, you can't super glue it, and if I was playing a lot of these for an order or for the shop, well then, I would sit and do the lead work, bead work on a couple of dozen hooks, and then come back along or super glue them all in, and then come back along and tie the rest of the pattern. But for the likes of tonight, that lead is not going anywhere now. We've got 2 good wedges either side, nice layer over the top, well secured in, and going to be very effective indeed for that extra bit of penetration. How you doing, Desmond? Desmond's on there. Robbie, how you doing? All is good, Robbie. Hope you're keeping well, and same with you, Desmond. Matty Cunningham, how you doing? Absolutely, mate. Yeah. Well, I tell you, I've got bombs. I should have brought them after the show. Well, not after the show, but during the show when our tackle talk and stuff is taking place. What I'll do is I go down and I get some of the real bombs I have downstairs, Matty. I got stuff there with maybe 4 or 5 tungsten beads in them, wrapped up and stuff like that. And they're real bombs. Like they're just meant for one thing. Oh, has to hit the bottom like a rocket. In real heavy, fast water. So what I'm going to do is put in a little tail here of Glow Break number 12. So just taking off a little bit of a strip, and I'm going to double it and quadruple it. Again, another grubby kind of caddis pattern. Very effective. I do like the black bead on this one. I tie with a silver, copper, gold as well. But I do like the finish of the black bead and the look of it. Secure that in well, and then we can trim it up like so. Now we're going to put a little hackle in there at the back, and we need some partridge. So I got a little bit dyed yellow partridge here. Kieran Sherlock, good question. No problem, Aiden. How many flies will I tie in a week, Kieran? Depends on the week. Depends. So I tie 7 days a week. There's no question. I have to tie 7 days a week. I would, on average, tie, if I was on nymph, say, all week, I would average tie maybe anything up to. It depends on the orders. It depends how busy the phone is. It depends how busy online is. If I'm with kids, they take up a bit of time as well. How you doing, Christoph? But I would say, how you doing, Declan Noonan? I would say, Kieran, at a rough guess, could be anywhere somewhere from 150 to 200 a day. If I was, if I was if we, at this time of the year, we would be flat out now tying, really getting into it. A lot of orders coming in, trying to stock up, not just my own personal boxes, which are very bad at the moment. There's going to be a few late nights now over the next couple of nights to get a few nymphs in my boxes. But the shop boxes and stuff like that, and so we could be up, yeah, we'd be up around 100, 150 maybe some days. If I get a full day at it, I'll sit and I'll tie. And a full day for me tying could be 8 o'clock in the morning till maybe 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, straight through, stopping for a bit of lunch and dinner and stuff like that. As I be, we're doing a selection. So it all depends. It really depends on what I'm tying, how distracting the phone is going to be, how many orders are in, and how much of an urgency is on them. But it'll be a lot. I tie 7 days a week. So just stroking back those hackles out the back to give us that nice caddisy peeping caddis. Peeping caddis. But I love it, I absolutely love it, guys. They're like, I've just been so addicted to flight tying since I was a kid. Still remember the first time it started. You all know that story, how it started and stuff. But like, just never was able to get enough of it. There's never a time that I sit down at a voice and say, I'm sick to me teeth of this. I wish to God I could, do something else or whatever. I tell you one thing, it's one of the nicest days. I look forward to it when I know that I'm going to be at the voice at 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to go for 12, 13 hours straight, tying lake flies, mayflies, whatever it may be. It's definitely, I just have I just love this silence, and I do it in silence. I don't have the radio on, nothing like that. I sit there in silence and just get lost in my thoughts, and I find it so therapeutic. It's fantastic. I really do. I get a great kick out of it. Um, the day just flies by, absolutely flies by. So I'm going to put in a little bit of a rib here, which is just pearl. Um, Now I have two kind of variations to the body of this one, and I'm going to do a spiky variation this time. If I wasn't doing really looking for a really spiky kind of a finish, I might go a little wider pearl and just get a subtle little brush out through of some of the dubbing out through it. But for this particular style of one, I want a little bit more spiky showing, so we're going to do something um, here to this one. Yeah, absolutely, Kieran. If things aren't going right for you, if things aren't going right for you, it could be a frustrating day, all right. And sometimes you get flies that, you know, spent maize and stuff like that, or detached bodies, and it can be really just having it. You could be just having one of those days where it's just a bad tying day, I call it. And you just got to switch away if things aren't going right for you. I would say just go and tie something else for an hour or two and come back to it. Normally you'll get it again the second time. It happens no matter how much practice you put into tying. It does happen. I often say that if I had a choice, I could give up fly fishing, but I could never give up fly tying. I absolutely adore it. So we're just going to coat that up along with a bit of hair's ear. Hi, Trevor Deary. Good stuff. Good stuff. Sounds good, Trevor. Sounds good. Sitting back, Dave Brennick's on the Jägerbombs. I have a glass of wine here in front of me. My usual non-wine glass. My wife hates my wine glasses. I just use a normal tumbler glass. I'm not one of these fancy wine glass drinkers. I drink that. Get half a bottle into it. Sipping away in a glass. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday night. Hope everyone's keeping well. Looking forward to Patrick's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mammies tomorrow. Um, and hope you boys have all got your mammies something decent for a bit of brownie points. So I'm just going to check something here for a second. Yeah, this is going to be okay. So, and we're going to try a body hackling on this to give that extra spiky look to this fly. By the way, guys, I meant to mention up until now, I'm not sure how many of you have seen it, and I'm sure most of you have seen it, but there is a fundraiser currently taking place for in support of Alan Kenny's family. He was a good friend and a great ambassador for the sport. There is a GoFundMe happening there at the moment. I think if Jason or someone is on there, you might stick up a link to that. And if anybody has something to contribute, I know the family would really and greatly appreciate it. However much there's no kind of limit there or minimal. So whatever you can afford would be fantastic. So if someone's there, they might stick up a link to that in the comments. And I know all the lads and the family really appreciate the support everyone's shown them from the angling community. So going to hackle down that fly. Couple of turns down through that dubbin. And then take your. So if I wasn't going to hackle and I was just doing, and I do say a very similar one, with just the rabbit fur and or the hare fur, should I say, down the body. And I would use the wider things. So I would use number 14 on it then. But for this particular one where I want it really spiky, I will use the finer ribs so I don't crush too many of those. There, thanks a million for that there, Jason. Jason Corcoran there from the Blackwater Salmon and Trout Lodge. Let's just stuck up that link there for you guys and girls if anybody wants to pop on there and do something. We would greatly appreciate it. So once I've got that tied in there, I'm then going to get me, give it a little bit of a brush back. And it just gives me a lovely spiky body set. It's a very fine, as you can see, it's a very fine micro barbed grizzle I was using there. If you're ever looking for a really spiky nymph or something like that, Desmond Paul's on there as well. Thanks for that, Desmond. Remains there. Billy Boland is also putting together a fly box. If any tyres would like to contribute, I'll certainly be sending a few flies your way. Billy Boland and Paul Desmond in the next little while. I'll gather up some stuff for you and get it off this. Okay, to finish off this flight, we're going to put in a little bit of a hare's ear mix here. It's kind of a one of my kind of crazy mixes. A bit of everything in there. Just tease it out a bit. And get a nice chunk of it in there. In behind the bead. It is 12 hours of tying. I do it regularly. That's the joys of tying for a living. Well, tying for a lifestyle more than living, I think. It's not easy to make a living off flight tying, trust me. But it suits me grand for the moment. I'm home minding the kids, and keeps me going, keeps everything tipping along. So give that a nice brush out then as well. So I put that extra little bit in there. I like to get that brush back on it. And that is a great caddis pattern now, guys. I'm telling you, that's absolutely lethal. When that thing gets wet, it's a fabulous caddis pattern. Lots of punch power in that there. You got the Lage, you got the 4mm black tungsten bead. I can tell you one thing, there's another fly that'll be swimming Patrick's Day in the River Nore or the King's River. An absolute belter of a fly. And you know what? I use that all year long. It's not just the start of the season. Flies like that, they catch fish all year long. If if I'm fishing a deep run or a lot of water pushing through, I certainly won't shy away from putting that up. And I've caught plenty of grayling on the Welsh D on that too. Over the years, it's a really good fly, very fishy, and that little bit of spikiness out of the hackle you can see gives a lovely spiky effect. So another one for the box there, Luca. But anyway, that's it now, folks. That's me done for the first part. Thanks, Neil Hamilton. That's me done for the first part of the show. We got lots more to come. Got an absolute belter of a dry fly coming up for early season opportunistic trout that might be in the shallows. And thanks, James. Cheers, Kieran. But I'm going to hand you over now for a little bit of tackle talk. It's all well and good me here talking about flies and nymphs that work well. Let's hear from one of the masters, or the master, should I say. Mr. Dave Donovan himself is going to give a little bit of a talk through there of approaches, setups, and that kind of stuff for this time of the year. It's definitely not to be missed. I'm going to be back, which is in a few minutes. I could only get one of those bombs out of my box if I can find one. I'll show you what how extreme we can get at times. Good man, Robbie. Cheers, Robbie. So sit back, and Dave Donovan's here, which is for the next few minutes, and I'll see he's back in a few minutes. Don't forget, we got lots of cool giveaways and stuff coming up after Dave, and everybody be on alert. Dave has trivia coming very soon too. So I'll find this now. I'm clicking here. There we go. All right. See you all in a few minutes. Enjoy. How you doing? And welcome back to another episode of our Tackle Talk. This is indeed our last episode of Tackle Talk in this series of our live flight tying sessions. We're joined once again by the legendary David O'Donovan from Shanballymore in County Cork. Everybody knows Dave well now at this stage with his trivia addition to the show, and he's done a few little speaks for us before. And I suppose this week being the last week, we decided to get Dave back on here He's a world-renowned river angler and definitely has his finger on the pulse at the moment. How you doing, Dave? And welcome back with us here for the last bit of show. Just before we start, Dave, I just want to say a big thanks to you for all your contributions over the last 23 or 24 weeks. I know you've wrecked your brain every week to get that trivia question, and I think you've managed to avoid giving a prize to Graham Lanigan at this stage. So we might have a little spot prize for that. But every week you've managed to think of a question that Graham can't get. So Graham, this could be your night. By the way, folks, the trivia question will be coming after this segment, and so pay attention. And after the segment, Dave will have his question there. So Graham, fingers on the button and ready to go. So Dave, I suppose you're a couple. There's a couple lucky, say, group of people around Ireland for the last number of weeks since Valentine's weekend that have been able to get to a river within their 5 kilometers, and indeed some of the rivers down near you are open, and you've been able to get out for the last couple of weeks, so you're quite ahead of the rest of us. And for everyone that's kind of getting geared up now and getting all excited about the thoughts of getting out Paddy's morning, if they're living close enough, how's the fishing going? How's it been so far this season for you?
Yeah, it's good. The rivers are heavy come the opening day, but our local river here, the Function River, goes down very quick. It can be flooded today and it'll be perfect tomorrow. Yes. But yeah, we're just starting now to get the upwing flies. A bit of dry dropper work now is even working at the minute, yeah. But the first few days it was all nymphing. All nymphing.
And what kind of so when you're talking about your nymphing approach, so let's say this time of the year, Dave, when someone's heading out early in the season, it can be a little bit of a struggle. For one, it's a bit unpredictable where the fish tend to lie. Some of them are still back in their winter lies. Some are obviously not there because they haven't come back from the migration or whatever. What's your kind of approach do you take when you're approaching that river this time of the year and looking to get the scoreboard ticking over?
Yeah, well, the experienced fishermen know where the fish lie, but for the people that don't really know much about where the fish congregate, it's down to experience, through going to the river time and time again. I actually, before the season will open, I know where there will be up to 40, 50 fish in a pod, that just congregate. And if you can get behind those, find them first. You have to find them.
What kind of water are we looking for, Dave? What kind of water are you looking for?
Off the tip. Yeah. About no more than 2.5 feet of, we'll say, tailwater, or the sides of eddies, or the sides of cow slips and stuff like that, because there's a good pull of water, but and they're down on the bottom, so you're going to be needing a minimum of 2.5. Maybe you might get away with it. Down here at the moment, we can get away with 2.5 mil bead, but definitely you're talking about 2 3 mil beads, maybe 1 3.5. Those are for the smaller rivers. I haven't been on the Blackwater, but the Blackwater would be a stronger river. But again, it's dropping. It dropped lovely there during the week. Wet flies would have been the order of the day.
Right.
Crossing down, midge tip, intermediate lines. Again, cover the water. Wait for the little plucks, the little telltale signs of where they are, and then fine-tune things. Get the fly sizes right, and maybe the imitations a little bit closer. But in general, it's a good start to the season down here. I know the other lads that are on the Function, Dave Coughlin down on a few of the lads, Tommy Lane, and they're getting lots of fish as well. So it is fishing. Right. It is fishing good.
Good stuff. So when you just back to the whole nymph thing you were saying at the start there, once you kind of find that area of that little bit of tailwater, eddies and that kind of stuff, what's your setup going, approaching those things, Dave, at those locations? What way you setting up in comparison to the way you would set up in May, June, and July when we're in full flow? Like, is there any kind of changes or setups in Pacific that someone would want to be looking at heading out now Paddy's Day in cold, hard water?
Yeah, well, I would tend to keep my 2 nymphs a little bit closer together.
Okay. What sort of distance are you talking about?
Normally, I'd have them 22 feet, but now I'm down to maybe 18, 20 inches, and my dropper included. So, with the dropper, there's only going to be about 14, 16 inches hanging, if you understand.
Okay.
So that gets them down faster, gets them in the zone. The fish aren't too particular they're actually trying to bulk up now. They're putting everything into their mouths. They don't care what it looks like.
Right.
I'll be honest about it. I've caught them with everything in the last few. I mean,
So again,
I've been
back to
out
the old
maybe-
kind of a theory I have. The importance of the bead can never be underestimated in relation to size and color, because that puts it in the right location.
put it in the right location at the moment. I mean, it might, as the season goes on, they're more selective. They know
Okay.
what they want. You get better hatches. Whereas at the moment, I mean, you just put it near their face at all, and they'll stick it in their mouth. They're hungry. They're trying
Yes.
to bulk up now again after the winter.
And do you feel this time of the year you can get closer to fish? Are you fishing from a distance, or what kind of?
No, you can. Yeah, well, I fish 2 rod lengths. I mean, I always say my nymph is in my hand,
Mhm.
and I'm fishing. It's not
Okay.
down here. It's in my hand, and that's a general rule of thumb. It's not.
Yes.
If I can't get out, but if I'm fishing 2.5 feet of water, which I am at the minute, the rivers are down 2.5, 3 feet max.
You're fishing 2 rod lengths away.
Yeah, straight mono, and just getting it in there, and you just.
And what kind of leader setup are you using on that one, Dave? This time of the year, does it just straight mono? What diameter?
I don't taper anything. I have 0.18 from my
0.18, okay.
0.12 now. Yeah. But 0.18 is from my main line.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I sometimes use Trabuco. 0.18 in my indicator, and then my tippet.
And your tippet saying is 0.12? 0.12. And of course, this time of the year, with the color in the water and stuff like that, how important, it's obvious. I think it's not as important tippet diameters, that will be coming into, summertime and late spring when, obviously fish are that little bit more fussier. That this time of the year, you can get away with heavier tippets. Would you find the same, Dave?
Yeah, it's just to get more educated. It's not that they get fussier; they still eat the same thing, but they get educated quick. That's when you need to change your beads a little bit. If it gets hammered on gold beads, they're not fools. If you catch a trout on a gold bead, you catch him again on a gold bead, he'll think twice about going for a gold bead the third time. So change your bead colors, change your patterns, change your sizes, especially if it's fished heavy.
Right. Okay. And how often would you recycle a pod of fish? If you're heading up across the function, you spot that pod sitting back in a piece of tailwater of 20, 30 fish, whatever it may be, what's your kind of catch ratio are you expecting out of that pod? And how long would you think before you can recycle it?
Well,
or do you just go through it, get what you can out of it, and then move on?
I want to get every one of them. You know what I mean? I'm not happy until I've all put things done. But yeah, look, you get as many as you can, and if you stop thinking it's drying up, if you take a series of good casts and you're confident that it was in the zone, you catch nothing, move on. Find another.
Would you come back to it, Dave? Would you recycle and come back to it an hour later or half an hour later? Or you think there maybe a day or so before they settle?
Yeah, well, no, I don't normally, because I don't want to burn it either. You know what I mean? I'm out pleasure fishing. If it was a competition, it might be different. But if I'm just out pleasure fishing, I
just move through
it. Yeah. I just move around and just try to learn. You learn more about the river moving. You're going to learn, of
course,
only so much standing in one place. So keep moving. It's getting.
And how long? How many casts would you like if you're fishing a spot that you think is likely to hold those fish? A spot that you described earlier on, and then how many casts would you make without catching a fish, or how long would you stay there before you decide to start moving on it? Okay, it's either fished out or there's nothing here.
Well, if it looks good, it normally is good. I mean, I'm around the block a long time now. If I feel there's fish in there and I'm down at my local river, and if I don't catch one in the first couple of casts,
you move.
I move, because they're probably not there, because they are in feeding zone at the moment. And
of course, this time of the year, it's all about finding the pods. They're not spread out in their summer lies or their springtime lies. It's about they're still shoaled up, they're podded up. And if you can find those winter pods, well, then you can get into some action. And it's about finding those pods, isn't it?
Exactly.
And you
Yeah,
were
I mean,
also saying something there, just to go back on something there you said at the start when we were talking about when you mentioned about wet flies and stuff. You know, how in relation to using wet flies at this time of the year, I know like I'm certainly not in comparison to you anyway near an expert or highly knowledgeable person when it comes to wet fly fishing, but I do use it quite a bit in March to locate the pod of fish, you know, and you mentioned that there earlier on. It can be a very effective way of covering a lot of water to find those pods.
yeah. Well, in our bigger rivers now, the Blackwater is a prime example of is good wet fly river, because in our competitions down here on the Blackwater, we normally can't use body waders, so we only have tie
Yes.
waders. And if you can locate the trout using the wet fly, you the wet fly will outfish a nymph any day of the week. I'm convinced of that. That if someone told me ideal conditions for wet fly fishing and ideal conditions for nymphing, it would be a close call, because
Yes.
you're gonna you're gonna definitely meet more fish on a wet fly, but landing
Yes.
them is another thing. You're gonna get a lot. You'll meet more,
Yes.
but you just meet so many fish in a wet
But this
fly.
time of
So
the year it can be very effective. So someone heading out on Patrick's Day, going into a piece of water, not overly confident of knowing that piece of river. They might, you know, it might be a piece that's just within 5 kilometers. And if they might normally fish, well, then, you know, a good idea would be to start off with a team of wets and search that piece of water for a pod. And if they get the pod, well, then, you know, the approach is either dry dropper or Euro nymphing into that pod and try and maximize what you can get out of it, you know. Would that be right?
exactly.
What kind of patterns?
You could stay. My go-to would be lemon partridge, gold partridge, greenwell spiders, March browns. Small little hare's ears would cover a March brown.
Right.
Not so much a black and silver at this time of the year, a little bit later,
Okay.
but yeah, grouses. I like my grouses, you know, just late in the season or very start of the season.
Yeah.
But it depends on if there's upwind flies hanging about at the time. If there's olives hatching off, then obviously you got your olives or your greenwell spiders and stuff like that. Yeah.
And what sort of a setup are you using? What's the fly line? What's the fly line? I think the fly line is very important for wet flies.
I'm a Kelly Green fan. I like my Kelly intermediate line. The Kelly Green is great. I mean, you don't, but a midge tip, you know, Kelly Green or a midge tip. Again, I would taper it for maybe the first 5 feet, just have a tapered line. Then I would have a team of 3 flies, 3 wets. The overall length again would be about a rod, nearly 2 rod lengths for the whole thing. So droppers would be maybe 4 inches, 3 feet between flies. Away you go.
Fluorocarbon or monofilament?
No, not a lover of fluorocarbon for my wet flies. No, I use mono. Yeah, Maxima Drennan doesn't bother me. Yeah. But there is times when fluorocarbon will outfish it, more so in the summertime.
Yes.
And you don't have to be low on tippet size.
Right.
You can use, without a doubt, 5 pound Maxima. 4 pound sounds heavy. We don't use that anymore. But no, 4. I wouldn't go below 4 pound. Very seldom I'd go below 4 pound. Drennan or Maxima, they'd be my, you know, ultra greens stuff, subsurface.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes on my point fly, I would have a bead.
A beaded wet fly.
A beaded wet fly on a windy day, or you want to get a bit of extra turnover because, you know, you get your March winds. You know, you're going to get strong winds in March or April for that. So, So I did a little bit of streamer fishing at the start of the season.
Right.
Dave Coughlin had a good day on it. I couldn't. I got 3, I think, one day and got a few bumps. But I don't know. I keep saying I'll keep doing it. I'll keep doing it. But
that's what you got to do. You see, folks. That's what you got to do. You got to keep. You know, you got to keep back. You know, the streamer stuff. And hey, I look at I'm as guilty as anyone. For being over reliant on, say, Euro nymph and dry dropper, and not focusing on the other fringe approaches like straight dry fly, streamer fishing and stuff like that, even wet fly included. So it's something that, you know, because again, we're going to have no tournaments this year and it's going to be just localized fishing willing, it's the perfect year to really, so I've kind of set myself up this year a bit to really focus on those, say, fringe approaches, as I call them, and try and bring them a bit more into the fore for the following season, you know. So what's kind of new this year, Dave? Looking forward now, kind of from here on, big season ahead. You know, we haven't got much to look forward to. We got Fly Fish Live. We've hopefully, fingers crossed, got Thomastown National Championships coming up sometime later on in the summer, if possible. So what are you working on? What's your focus going forward, Dave? Approaches, tackle. What's hot?
Apart from the new Reaver ride.
Absolutely. How are you getting out? Like, so anyone doesn't know, it's Syndicate. You can see the banner over my head there, guys. I do a bit of work for Syndicate. We rep them here in the shop as well. We brought out a new Nymphin rod, 10-foot two-way, called the Reaver. Pretty cool technology went into it. It took us 2 years to build it. A lot of research went into it. And I haven't, even though I got to fish a bit of a prototype last year, I haven't got to fish, even though I have it for the last couple of weeks sitting in the corner here. I haven't got to fish it yet. But Dave, the lucky David, has been out in the river for the last month fishing the new river. Give us a little bit of a lowdown, Dave. We won't dwell too long on it, but give us a little lowdown. Yeah.
It is what it is. It's a fantastic ride. It's new technology. I'm not a tech person, but it's just so different. I can't explain it. I don't know. I mean, people have asked me a few times, "What's it like, Dave?" I can't explain it. I've never held anything like it in my hand.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the makeup, the shape of it, it took a bit of getting used to.
It does, and I remember that with the prototype last year. You know, I went down for the first 3 days with the prototype, which wasn't the finished model at all, but, you know, it was very close to it. And, you know, I went down the first 3 days and I was so undecided about it because I just didn't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. It's just, you know, and it was 3 or 4 days before I actually really got into the rhythm of it and start realizing its real qualities there, you know.
What I found strange about it is when I hooked the fish, the rod recovered so fast.
Yeah, it's a very fast recovery, isn't it? Yeah.
It took me a while to get control of the fish, big fish, 20 centimeters, 25 centimeters. But it took me a while to get into the hang of it. But fantastic ride. I'm not a person for, you know, going into all tech stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but this one, it has the X factor. There's no doubt about it.
That's great. Glad to hear you're enjoying it. Anyway, I look forward to next Wednesday. I'll be breaking my neck down the river. Probably be in a massive flood, but I'll still be there with my Reaver, getting a swing out of it. I just can't wait to get it under water and start feeling what the final project turned out like. So what else is new and hot for this year, Dave? Or what way have you got any kind of tips for the guys and girls out there that are, you know, there's an awful lot of people. It's like, suppose in the last 12 months we had a bit of a chat for with him online. You know, the growth of fly fishing in Ireland it's a revolution at the moment, I think, in fishing sport, because it's been phenomenal. The amount of contacts we make every day with people that want to get into the sport, looking for information, looking for tips, getting ready for this season. You know, people that maybe never nymphs before, guys that fished lakes all their lives, and now they can't get to a lake till maybe midsummer, and their only option is to fish the local stream down the road. You know, so what's you know, is there anything new for these guys, or what kind of hot tips would you be given?
I took a newcomer to the sport up to the river last week. He had a little bit of fishing done, but not a lot. Only maybe he's been out 4 or 5 times. But what I do encourage is your posture. And you know, it's when you're standing in the river. There's some guys just standing. You know, they're in the river, and they think that, but you have to use your physique. You know, you reach out, use your arm's length. You know, use every, use your
body,
and use your body. Get into the right position in the river. You know, position yourself properly. You know, if there's a rock there, use the water break off the rock to maybe alleviate some of the pressure off of your own body. But use yourself, use your reach, lean out, and when your arm is extended like that, you feel the take better. If your arm, I find that if you have a bend if your elbow is like that and you're just holding the rod nonchalant without, whereas if it's extended, you feel every
more focused in on it, kind of, in a way. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and that's another thing. Get focused. You know, don't be looking at the birds and be all like Mother Nature. Get tuned into what you're doing. Concentrate.
Well, that's what we've often talked about. I suppose, when we're in team, practicing for team events, Dave, myself and yourself, we fished a few together, is, we do short bursts, we do 2 hours, 1 hour, hard, hard going, hard concentration, and then take a break. Stop. Going for 5 hours straight, I personally feel is totally, if you're trying to improve and really, feel and see what's going on with the way you fish and the way you approach things and the way you're being effective or efficiency or whatever. Well, fishing for 5 hours straight is not going to give you the answers. I think 1 hour hardcore, kind of really high focused, high energized fishing, and then take a break.
Exactly. It's like a marathon runner. A marathon runner doesn't run a marathon every day to practice.
Yeah.
He does his 8, 10, 12 miles every day. It's the same fishing. The lads know me. My buddies won't even go fishing with me because I'm no sooner there and I want to come home again.
Yes,
I go for 2 hours every day, whereas the lads go. Maybe I'm a little bit more fortunate, whereas the lads only have a Saturday or a Sunday, and they have to get it all in one day. Whereas I kind of, my own boss, I can kind of go when the sun is shining. I go take a break in the morning, and it suits me to do it that way. And
yes,
I am guilty of going to the hot spots, but it's easy to rack up numbers when you're doing it that way. But go to the difficult places. That's another thing I like to do. I find out who was there yesterday, and I'll go there on purpose, knowing that it had been fished all day yesterday, and see how I can get on there.
Right.
So if there's a car there, sometimes
test yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. That's just, and when you think you've got a place, that's another thing I do an awful lot. If I catch 10 trout in a run, and I just can't catch any more, I won't leave till I get one more.
I know what you mean.
I just keep staying there till you get one more.
Yeah.
I change something, but get out on the river is the main thing. You're not going to learn anything at home. YouTube is fantastic, but being on the river,
like the real thing. Yeah, absolutely. Dave, just before we let you go, there is one other point that I want to just ask your opinion on or get your advice on, because I know you're a highly trained rivercraft waterman, I suppose, from your previous employment. You have a lot of experience. I've certainly fished some of the toughest rivers in the world with you. And as you know, I've called out your name a few times when I decided to go for a swim, just to make sure someone spotted where I went in. But, it's a really important thing. As we've talked about, there's an awful lot of newcomers to the sport. Wading is something that is probably neglected, I would say, in an awful lot of coach and train and stuff like that. Now, I always try and include a little bit of wading technique. I know you definitely have a lot of wading technique and a lot of water safety kind of under your belt there, course and stuff like that. Now, of course, we always promote wearing a life jacket. You should always wear a life jacket once you're near a river or a lake. Absolutely. Whether you choose to do that or not is your decision. But we always promote it, and everywhere it does promote, like wearing life jackets, all clubs and stuff like that. Water safety, very important. When a guy that's going out now or a girl that's going out now on the 17th of March, high rivers, unpredictable river beds because everything's changed over the winter floods. How can they stay safer? What's crucial there? What's key components to good river safety when wading now in spring?
Well, first of all, don't go out of your depth. Don't do anything that you're not comfortable doing. But having said that, we all do it, myself included. I am not a strong swimmer, and I'll be the first man to say that. But what I am is comfortable in the water. If I fall in, I know 9 times out of 10, most rivers are not going to be over my head. You can stand up, believe it or not. A lot of the answers is, if you fall down, just simply stand up. Don't panic. Don't let the the water's cold. So don't let the water beat you, if you know what I mean. Don't let it win the coldness. But having said all of that, if you are pulled downstream, put your back to the water and lay back. Put your feet forward, and that will obstruct, any rocks or anything like that. But all the time, dragging your arms in towards the bank. Okay. Just get to the bank.
Your back paddling, kind of, yeah.
Yes, but get to now. If you have any little bit of swimming at all, just make sure you get to the bank as soon as you can and dry out as fast as you can.
And when it comes to like, say, boots and stuff like that, what's the best option there for boots, Dave? Now not talking brand or like, we're talking Viabram versus felt soles, studs, stuff like that. You know, is studs how important are studs? Vibram soles.
Yeah. Well, I have Vibram with my own studs put in. Felt are very good, but in competitions, they tend to vibrate a little bit more, and they say that you could be frightening fish. So it's down to the venue. If it's a very bad, like up in your neck of the woods, up in the Wicklow up there. I mean, geez.
you'd want two wading staffs with you every time you go out. You're like you're skiing down across the river, and that bloody place is one of the toughest rivers to wade on the planet, I'd say.
It is.
Yeah. And there's another thing, a wading staff, Dave. I know, I always have a wading staff in the bag, and I do wear it regularly, even though I fish 7 days a week and been doing it for years. A wading staff is something that can save your life as well, and can just give you that little bit more comfort and confidence in the water. So, don't ever be afraid. I wear it. I still go out. And if I was on the Avonmore, there's no way I'd go near the Avonmore River without a wading staff on my hip.
Now you get used to it. It's an asset. I mean, you can use it as an asset, so why not bring it? I mean,
absolutely.
We go to the Welsh Dee there now every year. I have to wear it out there because it's so cold. It's the cold is your enemy. It's not so much the water, it's the cold. You don't realize it. You go under, you lose the power of your hands, your feet. You just physically can't do anything. So
now, I know you also have a great jacket there you wear the whole time, Dave. I've actually picked up one for myself. This is the first one I've ever bought, but I splashed out this year and I went for a CAG jacket. Anyone that doesn't know what a CAG jacket is, Dave, what's a CAG jacket?
It's a kayaking jacket. So it's got a Velcro neck, it's got Velcro wrist pads, and so you can get them either in Velcro or in rubber. But if you fall in, it'll actually keep you afloat, but more importantly, it will keep you 100% dry.
Right.
So, I only wear it in the winter months, or if it was if it was like, again, on the Welsh Dee, I stand out like a frog out there because it's bright green. So, but no, it's an asset.
For comfort and water safety, something like a CAG jacket again can be crucial. So,
yeah,
it's worth looking for river anglers to look into, and lake anglers too, I suppose. Now, I said I've got a lend of a CAG jacket off you before in different situations, and they are fantastic. And I say I broke out and bought myself a decent one this year, myself. So I'll be wearing it this year. But yeah, look at it's definitely something that's worth looking at for river anglers. And a wading belt, of course, folks. Always wear a wading belt. It can be, again, that can be a lifesaver. Stop the water from getting down into your legs, tighten it up, strap it up, and things like that. So, that's fantastic, Dave. So what's any last top tips, Dave? We're going to say goodbye to everybody tonight. Again, I say thank you so much for all your contributions over the last couple of months. We'll be back live with a whole brand new show and program in October. So just before we sign off with Tackle Talk and Dave O'Donovan, what's your big tip? What's the hot tip? What's the key message now that everyone's going to focus in on every day they're on the river from Dave O'Donovan? They're going to think about this metaphor, this statement that Dave is going to motivate them on.
You're putting me in the spot. I know. Let's enjoy your fishing. Enjoy it. Not everything is a competition. But at the same time, have a competition with yourself. It doesn't have to be competitive because we can't have competitions now. I think Phipps Smoosh are on the fence. Nothing is ruled out so far this year. But enjoy your fishing. Get out there. Try different methods. And nymphing isn't everything. Go to your dry flies. Go to your wet flies.
Have a go.
That's my main thing.
And,
yeah. And it's so like I love dry drop. I mean, I'm like a child watching a float. When I was a kid.
Yes.
Watching the float go under. Dry dropper fishing is fantastic, and it's lethal. It's as good a way of catching fish there is, and you can fish dead pools that you can't fish any other method. Water that's stagnant, and you're just so. Again, mix things up a little bit. That would be my tip.
Good stuff. Well, Dave O'Donovan, once again, thank you very much from everyone here for Scary Fly and for all our viewers. I know you've enjoyed your contributions. For everyone else, I'm going to be back there now in a couple of seconds and we're going to get back into the fly tying. Don't forget, Dave will have his trivia quiz coming up any moment. So eyes on the comment section there for Dave's trivia quiz. I hope you're all paying attention to that little bit of tackle talk. And I'm sure it'll be based on something here. And that's it for Tackle Talk for this year. Thanks to all our support, or thanks to all our contributors over to Tackle Talk this year. And I'll see you back in a few minutes on the voice. Thanks, Dave. Have a good night, buddy.
Bye.
So there we go. We're back. Huge thanks to Dave Donovan. An abundance of knowledge that man has when it comes to river fishing. Hope he's all managed to get a few bits out of that. He covered a lot of stuff there in relation to water safety approaches, the whole lot. But a wealth of knowledge, wealth of experience he has, and always willing to share. And we really appreciate having Dave being part of the show over the last couple of months. Thanks so much, Dave, for all your contributions, your questions. Even if Graham Lonigan is putting in a CV for your job next year to be the quiz master, trivia quiz master, but Graham, you'll have a chance taken off, Dave. But Colin McGar's on there. He's all fired up for Wednesday after that. Great stuff. That's what I want to hear. Great. I've been sitting back here watching all your comments. This is fantastic. Everyone sharing, talking to each other, chatting to each other. And that's what this whole thing was about. That's what I set this whole thing up for. And that's why I come here every Saturday night to see and laugh and giggling away to myself here about pennies and things like that. So, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. But huge thanks to Dave. And indeed, huge thanks to a lot of people that have been part of the show over the last 20 odd weeks. Mark Driver, huge thanks to Mark. He's been a great asset. How you doing, Deirdre? Deirdre Delaney. Yeah, hopefully we'll get to see you soon too. But Mark Driver has been a fantastic. You all know Mark really well now, guys. He's here. He's part of Pescari Fly business. Be lost without him. First cousin of mine, pretty much a brother. And but huge thanks to Mark. George McGrath was on there with us over the Christmas period. Thanks a million, George. Basil Shields did a fantastic tackle talk with us on buzzers. Basil, thanks a million. Hopefully we get over to see you this year on the Corrib. Keith MacDonald on the streamer section was an absolute wealth of knowledge. I learned so much that night. I'm really looking forward to hooking up with Keith come some stage this year again. Rokas from Flight to Toy Lithuania. Rokas, we've been friends for a long time on social media, and we're due to meet up very soon as the whole thing this whole COVID thing moves away. Desmond Paul was on with us a couple of times there, tied some great flies. Huge thanks to Desmond Paul and sharing his wealth of knowledge in fly tying and fantastic skills there. And again, thanks to the likes of Robbie Field and Josh Walker. Robbie helped set up this whole thing. The first night I drove nuts for a week or two to get this whole system set up. Josh Walker came on and did the intro, the fancy intros and stuff like that. So huge thanks to everybody that's been involved. And huge thanks to all you guys and girls out there too for coming on every night and encouraging me to keep coming every week and doing it and making it feel worthwhile. So, and giving feedback of what you're all getting out. So a massive thank goes to all you people there too coming on and commenting and having a bit of fun. And that's what it's all been about, having a bit of crack. There's no fancy here in this place. It's just give it as straight as we can and have a bit of fun, have an old drink on a Saturday night and try and relieve the stress of, for 2 hours a week anyway, at least. And I suppose just one other thing I want to mention is that, there is someone else that needs a massive thank you. We've been on here 20 odd weeks. That's 20 odd Saturday nights. And my lovely wife had to do without me. Now, I know she misses me terribly sitting down there on the couch watching Netflix, having the remote control all to ourselves, not watching rugby playbacks, listening to me babble on a Saturday night. But she does have to listen to me babble on all the other hours of the week. So she puts up with a lot, and in all fairness to her, she helps out an awful lot with Pescari Fly. We are a little family-run business here. Deirdre does at least 40% of the work. She does a lot. She packs up all your parcels every time you guys order something. It's Deirdre that packs it up, and so if you're ever missing it, the parcel, you can get onto her instead of getting onto me. But no, look at Dee. She's an amazing girl. Luckiest man. Great mammy. Happy Mammy's Day tomorrow. Dee, we got two fabulous kids, Lily and Tommy. We love them to bits. But thanks a million to Dee. She's giving me up every Saturday night. She's always encouraged me to keep going and keep doing it and keep pushing forward with this whole thing, the whole agenda going we have here in Pescari Fly about information sharing, connecting with people, all that kind of stuff. So huge thanks to them. So, and then everyone else. If I've forgotten anyone else, look at thanks to everyone. Yeah, great. Yeah, absolutely. 20 odd weeks, Paul Cal. I think I don't know. I've lost count to this stage. Yeah, sorry, Paul. You've been driving around the baby to go to sleep. But and there's going to be lots more to come for us here. We've got plans. We got plans. We're going to keep this going in a certain way. Now, it's not going to be every Saturday night, but we're definitely going to do some live stuff from the rivers. We're going to have some interviews during the yoke. I'm going to put up some normal YouTube videos of any patterns I come across. When restrictions lift, you can come and come to master classes with me and Dave. We will be down in Jason Corcoran's fantastic lodge down there on the Blackwater doing master classes during the summer months. If anybody wants to come, keep an eye on Jason's Facebook page or ours, and come down along, meet us for a day. And as I said for the last couple of weeks, as soon as this whole COVID thing shuts down and we are allowed to move around and we're allowed to socialise, well, then we're going to have a day here in Piscari Fly. And it's going to be a day where I'm going to be on the river at 9 o'clock. Anybody that's willing and able to come down and join me, come and join me for a day on the River Nore. I'm going to be back here. I'm going to be thrown on the barbecue at 3 o'clock. Anyone that's willing and able to come and join me for that, you're more than welcome. No fees, no charge. All you got to do is bring your own lump of meat, your own steak, and a box of bottles or a bottle of wine, whatever you fancy. And you're more than welcome to come join me here for a day, have a chat, have a crack, and I would love to see so many of you come down and just meet up, just meet up, and at some stage during the summer and have a bit of fun. And that's what we'll be doing. So watch out for those things coming up in the future, and we keep it together. There's a great community of people on here sharing and talking, and I know there's been some social friendships made over this show and stuff like that, which is fantastic. Good man Neil Hammer's going to be bringing the burgers and sausages. Good stuff. I hope it keeps going in some kind of form, and we will be back in October, bigger and better than ever. We've got some great plans for October. I've got loads of great ideas that I'm going to put into action over the summer months and be ready to go here in October for another whole winter of flight time. Please God, we'll have no lockdowns and stuff like that, but we'll have a whole winter of flight time. So definitely watch out for those things. Watch out for the master classes down in Jason's. Right, let's kick on with another flight. We're probably going to run over a little bit tonight, but the hell with it. It's our last show. Thanks, Martin Fennessy. Really, really glad you enjoyed it. So in this voice here, I got a Hanik Competition 130 BL dry fly hook. It's a size 12. Okay, this is a dry fly. I was kind of, really picking out some early patterns for the early season. And I was looking through the info. I have a big chest downstairs. By the way, I couldn't find the bombs. Sorry about that. Apologies. If I come across them at some stage during the week, I'll stick up a picture of them. But I was, rooting through a big chest of flies I have down there. I keep on my originals. If I go to Italy and someone gives me a fly, an original, or if I meet somebody and they give me a fly, I put it aside. I don't use it. I don't fish it. And they say, oh, I wonder what the hell was in that thing. I have a chest. So I keep it all in the chest. So I have this big chest of flies downstairs and it's full of original patterns. And I try and write little note who gave it to me or maybe where I got it from and stuff like that. And I was going through kind of stuff I've put aside for March, kind of March, April. And there's a dry fly down there that the late Sean McLaughlin, a very good friend of ours from Rathdrum in County Wicklow that we all grew up with, myself and Mark and a few of the lads. We all grew up fishing together and stuff like that. And that someone just sent me a message on Facebook, Andres Ferreira. Andres, you must be watching the live show. I'll just click out that there now so I can see all your messages. But anyway, I came across this dry, the Sean Tide, a good few years back. We were fishing the Avonmore early season, and in little pockets where there's a little bit of sunshine, probably the Avonmore is all run through woodland. But there is a few spots here and there where the sun manages to get through. And this was a dry fly. We start getting a few. Dave is on there, guys, saying questions coming up. I want to see. Graham, I hope you're ready for this one now. Big things from you tonight, Graham. If you want the job next year, Graham, now you're going to have to show your work there now in a few minutes, and Dave puts up that. But so we came, we were fishing dry March browns and stuff like that, wet March browns, things like that. So anyway, this was a fly that came up from a couple of Marches, working together and trying to come up with a dry fly that would catch those very sporadic, and I mean very sporadic, rising trout in the Avonmore in the month of March. But since I've came to Kilkenny, it has been a very, very good early season flight. Now, at that time of the year, the small little bit of Google overload going there. No, not an Adams, but you're getting closer, Colin. It is going to be very close to an Adams. You have that kind of silver water in the start of the season. You got dull skies, you got no leaves on the trees giving you any backdrop. It can be an awful lot of silver water, if you all know what I mean by silver water. When there's some kind of a grey glare on the water. Graham Flanagan's got 10 Googles, 10 tablets, and 10 PCs in Google. Good man. I don't know if you're going to need Google for this one now, Graham. This could be a non-Google question, I have a feeling. So this was a flight, we said for that kind of silver water, the spring silver water, no backdrops, and you're kind of glaring for it, and that's where we're using a black post. So I've got a bit of black parapost here from the shop below. We have it in the shop there, and we're going to tie in a little black post. This is a parachute, and all credit has to go to Lake Sean McLaughlin for this fly, but an absolute belter of a fly. Kind of just form that little post there for myself. Now it is big. It is big. It's meant for tumbly water as well. The black post means you'll see it in that silver water. At the time we were tying a wise post. So Dave is on there, and the question's on there. During Tackle Talk, there was a book on top of his gun safe. Name the book. What a question. What a question. Who has been alert? Who has been alert, Dave? Will you let me know who wins that? I'm going to keep tying the fly here, and Dave, you might let me know who wins that. So anyway, we started off with our Kevlar trade. We put in our black parapost. We're going to put a little bit of red game tail here. That's just a cock hackle. Red game. Now, say this fly was based on a Marsh Brown, probably would have started out something similar. Back in the day when we were tying these flies, we were early 20s. Our fly tying selection certainly wasn't as expansive as it is now. So, we were pretty much using whatever we had just to make little tweaks and adjustments to the fly. But like this fly has stood the test of time. The dressing of this has stood the test of time. Lots of questions, lots of answers coming in there for that one, Dave. I know who's the winner, but at the end. But now, so for the rib, what we've got here is a really fine gold, a really fine James Gibson on their playboy. Oh, and James Gibson. Now he has them under the table, James. He has them. They're in under the table that he was sitting at. That's where he keeps the playboys and stuff like that. Oh, come on. So this is a really fine oval tinsel. I honestly can't tell you where I got it. There's no labels left on it. I've had this thing donkey's years, and that is what I normally use for this. That is normally what I use for this kind of fly, or even any dry fly I want to put a gold rib on. Now, if you have a bit of gold nugget, Piscari fly gold nugget, microglint, that will do the same job. Okay, it's light enough. I don't believe in putting wire on the dry flies, but that is light enough. But I'm going to go stick to the original pattern, and I'm going to use this. There's not too much of it left. I don't give too much of it away. It's a really, really fine. I don't know where I found it, and it's just one of those things I've never been able to find since. It's so fine. So that's our rib for this one. So I'm going to add in that little rib. Now, for the body of this, we're going to use a bit of hare's ear, and we're going to mix a small little bit. Now, you're talking probably maybe 20% to 80%, a mix between golden olive, seal's fur, and hare's ear. So we just want a tiny little piece of golden olive in there, just to olive you up that little bit of hare's ear. Give it a good mix through. Sure, like the field with the Bull McCabe. Don't forget, we have our guest Tyre coming on next after this Kraken fly with an absolute belter of a nymph. So just stay tuned for that one. And I got still a bonus fly to come after that. I'm going to do one more nymph after. Now we're going to run a little bit over. So if you have nothing else to do, just stick with us here. I say this is our last show on Saturday night. Till next October, we will be on during the summer months at some stage. Keeping an eye on, and I hope you all check in with us. And don't forget, if you ever need anything, check out www.piscarifly.com. If you ever need any advice or help or assistance, or you got any questions with your setups or anything like that at all, pick up the phone and give us a ring. We don't mind. Here, always willing to answer a phone call. If I can't answer you straight away, no need to ring a second time. I will get back to you. Same with an email or a message. But do please. We all love sharing our information, our bit of knowledge we have here, and give us a shout, and we'll do our best to get you sorted here in the shop. And same when the whole thing opens up, you're more than welcome to come down. There will be a bit of a day out, all right, when we open up. But anytime you want to call down, we have a shop here, and you're more than welcome to call down and have a browse. So just gonna nice little bit of tight up in there, and I'm going to wind it up the body. Probably have a bit too much on. And just take away whatever's not needed. When are the giveaways, James? The giveaways are always happening. It's just whenever I feel the need that someone deserves a prize. We're going to let Dave do his quiz first. Now I'm just going to rib that up with the lovely fine oval. So who won? Did someone win that? Did somebody win that, Dave? I must have missed that because I was trying to fly. Can someone let me know if someone actually won that prize? And I'll tell them what they won. There's still people guessing there. But there's a lot of well done's coming up there. See Gianluca replying to Michael Callaghan won. Well done, Michael. Michael, what I've got for you there is a waterproof foam pouch. What every angler needs going out Paddy's Day, a waterproof foam pouch. That's on its way to you Monday morning. If anybody's looking for these, we have them in the shop, by the way. But that's heading out to Michael Callaghan, winner of Dave's trivia. Graham Lonigan, not going to forget you. Not going to forget you. You've been a fantastic supporter of the show. Every week you've come on here. We've given you a little bit of stick. Great stuff, Des. Giving you a little bit of stick here, and you've took it on the chin. Fair play to you. I'm really looking forward to meeting up with you, Graham, in the new season when everything lifts us. But Graham, got a little consolation prize for you there. I got some of our new leaders. We got loads of new tapered leaders in the shop there, our own custom tapered leaders. And once we've been fishing last year or so, we decided to bring them out. So, Graham, I got a little selection of tapered leaders there. I'm going to send them on to you for just being a good sport, and really appreciate all your contributions, your help. You did a lovely video for us there at Christmas time, and I really appreciate it. So thanks a million for everything, Graham, for your contribution to the show over the last couple of months. I don't think you've missed the show yet. So, oh, good man, Luca. Luca lost his black gloves. I should have another pair down there. Luca, you're very welcome, Graham, and thanks again. And thanks to everybody for, I'd love to give you all something. It wouldn't be great business sense to be sending out 134 spot prizes every week. But I got another couple to go. We still have a bit of time left, lads. So stay tuned. A couple of other little spot prizes. But anyway, Graham, do really appreciate all your contributions, and you've been a great sport. And that's what this whole thing has been about. So now we're going to put in a couple of hackles here onto this dry fly. And we're going to start with a nice red game saddle. And then we're going to put in a grizzle. Tie those two in. Trim off your waist. I know loads of people have their own ways and ways that they reckon what you call it should be tied. Thanks, Des. Thanks, Des. Thanks, Neil. You're very welcome. But how clink or parachute hackles and like that should be tied, and I do it my base. That's all I'm just trying to say is that this is the way I've done it for years, and I've kind of stuck. So what I'm doing here is another little mix. So what I've got here is some Peacock Ice Dubbin by Hairline Black. James Hope, look at you know a 2-weight is ideal, James, but a 3-weight you will get away with it. There is no doubt you get away with a 10-foot 3-weight, depending on the brand, of course. But you will get away with it. I've seen lots of really good questions coming up, and I've seen lots of really good questions coming up there, and kind of different comments and stuff when Dave was doing his tackle talk. I didn't get a chance to answer them. But what I do is, as always, I will read back over, and anyone that I get time to shout back at, I will. I will get it. So I'm just mixing a little bit of that black peacock, just darkening up. So we got a nice kind of, yellowy olive body there. And I just want a little bit darker up at the thorax. So a little bit of peacock, dark peacock by Hairline, and a little bit, I'm actually going to add another little bit of yeah, we can sort you out one of those, James. Definitely, we have them in the shop there. If you want to give us a message there, James, during the week, we have those Ritz fly rods there. They're a great little starter rod. They come with a spare tip and the whole lot. No frills, but they certainly do the job. I fished with a couple of them last year there for a bit of a tester before we decided to get them in. Super little job, super little rod. For very economical, great way to start off into your infant. You know, I often say to people, you know, you don't need to spend the big bucks to have the right gear. You just need to get a bid well done and have an understanding of what you're doing with it is probably more important. So doubling on a little bit of that. So now we have a couple of ladies. We have a couple of ladies there that have been with us for the last couple of months. I know Deirdre, Sorka, a few other ladies have been there. A few other, no problem, James. Give us a shout whenever you're ready. We look after you in Pescari. But there has been a few ladies on with us there for the last couple of months, and they've you know they're some fantastic fly fishers. So we're going to give a little spot prize to the ladies. But I want to ask a question. So I'm trying to think of a question that the ladies would know. And the question is the first lady to tell me who won, what was the final score between England and France today? First lady on to tell me what was the score between England and France in the Six Nations rugby today. I'm sure all the ladies were glued with. First lady on to tell me that on my feed, by the way, which is kind of crossed path to several pages. So, first lady up on my feed tells me I've got a really nice surprise here. Deirdre Delaney's, yep, I need a scoreline. I want to know what was the scoreline between England and France today in the Six Nations rugby. Of course, Ireland take on Scotland tomorrow. We're not going to make any predictions. We're not going to, I don't think I dare to make any predictions of what that's going to be. Something easy, Deirdre. I just gave you these questions. Donald Rafferty, sorry, Donald, ladies only. I can only see ladies' names. Susan O'Sullivan, 23,200. 23,200. Susan O'Sullivan, 2320. Susan, I think you're right. Susan O'Sullivan, I think you're right, and I stand corrected if anyone wants to correct me. But Susan O'Sullivan is the first up on my list. England got a try in the last few minutes there. Do you know what? Deirdre Delaney's on there, 29-23. I'm going to Google this one. Deirdre came back on 2023. Let me just Google it here now for 1 second quickly because I have it up here in Google because I was Googling it only moments ago. And I will give the correct answer and see if it's Deirdre Delaney or Deirdre Delaney or let me see here now. So it's the full-time score was 23-20. The winner is the first lady I named, Susan O'Sullivan. Congratulations, Susan. To you, I've got a lovely leader box here full of lovely foam coils. One of our own leader boxes here. Great job. And thanks a million, Susan. Thanks a million, Deirdre, Sorka, all the ladies out there. Great to see you guys on here every week with us. And I hope you have a great season. And Susan O'Sullivan, I'll get your information off you tomorrow at some stage. And I'll get that out to you Monday morning. Well done, Susan. Great to see some ladies on here. So I've just wound those hackles around that black parapost there. And I'm just getting in on the side. You can all see how I tie that. Quite simple. That's how I tie my clinks and my parachutes. It's just get the thread in on the side. Keep a bit of pressure on the thread. Cut out my waist. And good stuff, Susan. We got another couple of spot prizes. I got one of those new Nymphin lines to give away. So we got some new fly lines coming out from Pescari Fly this year. Stuff we've been working on for the last year or so. And they're coming out. I got a new Nymphin line. I just got to figure out how to give it away. But it will be shortly. And that is an Avamore take on a March Brown. That would have started out as a March Brown and ended up with that fly. Was never given a name. Sean McLaughlin has to be given credit. The late Sean McLaughlin has to be given credit for it. Fantastic flyer. Probably one of the best fly players I ever knew. An absolute genius on a voice. Would do stuff that was just extraordinary on a voice. Nothing too fancy, nothing too pretty, but man, it could catch fish. And loved. He was a great brainstormer. Sit down and just start with a blank hook and just build a fly. Fantastic gift to be able to do, like just build a fly from nothing, and it would be effective, and he would have a visual of what he wanted to achieve. Unfortunately, Sean passed away this year. May he rest in peace. And I'm looking for my Dublin brush, but I can't seem to find it. So normally I'll give the underside that just a little bit of a brush back. But there you go. In that silver water that you might get when there's no foliage on the trees, no backdrop of green grass and stuff like that, no colour in the water because of the dull skyline, that thing will stick out for you. I'll figure out a way. Don't you worry, folks. Stick with me here, and I'll figure out a way of getting rid of that piece. Ortiz, someone a deservedly winner as always, will get it. So definitely a cracking parachute fly there for early season. Has worked a treat for me over the years, especially on the River Nor since. And if I see a rising throw Paddy's Day, I doubt if I will, but if I do, that's the sort of dry size 12, folk. A bit of meat in it. Make sure it's but the black parapost is something that I really wanted to talk about. I know I've mentioned it before. In that kind of silvery water, it is an absolute must. If you don't have a couple of black parachutes or clinks in your box, well then it's something. The clink can be whatever it wants, but the post needs to be black. So you have it in the box. It's going to be an absolute must. I never go anywhere without them. And that's an absolute better. And someone can win that tomorrow. Don't forget, there's more prizes coming tomorrow. So as we always have done, we always give away our flies the day after of what we tried the night before. Sometimes I don't get to it till midweek. Thanks very much, Neil and Nando. Nice to see you there, Nando. Hope you're keeping well. Des Lynch, thanks a million. To make it look simple, Asher, look at this when you're at it. When you're at it as long as I'm at it and as often as I am, it does make it look simple. But I was only talking to a chap there on the phone to me the other day who was only starting off Flight Time, and he was trying to get some advice, and I was doing my best to kind of explain over the phone without meeting him, and it's so much easier to meet him. But take one thing at a time. Thanks, Kieran. Take the tail, finish the tail, move on to the next piece. Don't think about the whole fly as a picture. Take one segment at a time, complete that segment, properly the way you want it to look, and then move on. Good man, Robbie. Move on to the next thing. Rather than think the whole fight. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. But anyway, thanks a million, Peter O'Connell there. Great to see so many people on there still with us. We got another little bit to come. I still have another cracking nymph to come. My last nymph for the live shows. But there's someone else going to tie a fly for you now. Yeah, Eugene, absolutely. You can tie an olive version of that. I know if Tom McConnor is still on there, and this was mentioned before, and Tom, cutely enough, never gave us an answer or never came on to give us the pattern. But we were tying Adams at one stage here, I think it was. Tom McConnor has an absolute lethal Adams pattern. Never was given permission to give away. I never asked Tom, but maybe next year's live shows, Tom, you might come on. Yeah, exactly, Tom. We're going to be drinking next Saturday night because we're going to miss the live show so much. That's pretty much what I'm going to say anyway, Tom. I miss all the lads so much, so I'm going to have a few glasses of wine. But we got someone coming on here now. He's all known Fierce Well. We've already mentioned him a few times tonight. He's my very good and dear friend Mark Driver from Rathdrum, County Wicklow. Young bull, known as well. A lot of you will know him as that question or that title he earns as well. And I asked him during the week, you know what, Mark, will you do? Yeah, absolutely. These shows are on. Yeah, well, absolutely. You can go back and watch a rerun. Start from day one. But Mark, I asked Mark, will you do me a favour? There was an olive bite nymph he tied last year, and I found it in his box, and I nicked a couple of them. Boy, geez, it was deadly. Beautifully tied. Mark is a fantastic flighter. Very neat, very tidy. And I asked him, would you do me a favour? Would you do a video on that for me, just to finish off the season of the live show? So Mark kindly came on and did this fly for us. Definitely not an early season fly, but definitely one that once we get into April, probably would, Eugene. I probably would. Tom would. Maybe we might convince him during the summer to maybe give us that time of that fly for next year. But anyway, Mark came on there and did a lovely video for you guys. So sit back and enjoy this. We got one more fly after this. We'll be back, and we still got that fly line to give away. So see you all in a few minutes and enjoy Mark here.
Hi guys, Mark Driver here. So Peter's asked me to come on and tie a little favourite nymph of mine that I used during the summer months. He caught his eye on it last year, rooting through my boxes when he was finding it hard to find some of his own nymphs in his own boxes. So we were out a day on the river and he was finding it hard to catch a few. So he had to come rooting in my boxes. But anyway, So it's a little olive goosebite nymph. It works really well during the summer months, mostly in June and July. Kind of the one I'm going to show you is mostly June, July. You can, if you kind of go darker olives coming into the later part of the season. But goosebites come in a range of colours, absolute multiple range of colours. You have different medium olives, dark olives, light olives, chocolate brown, mahogany brown, black. It's endless. There's some beautiful colours out there. Very easy to work with. Lovely, sharp, crisp bites on most of the byproducts you can get now. A lot of people use turkey bites as well. Now, turkey bites are a bit longer. They're a bit more fragile to use in terms of time, so it takes a little bit more, not practice, but just a bit more of a gentle touch towards when you're tying with them. But they can offer a little bit more more turns to the body, which I'll kind of show you when I'm going through the goosebite nymph with you. I use the turkey bite now and again, only to get certain shades of olive that I'm after, that I can't get in the goosebite or that I can't dye up myself. But look, they definitely are worth getting, turkey bites, and trying them out in several different colours. They're very natural nymph. You don't need any, even if you don't have hot spots. They do cover a lot of the insects in the water, and they are very productive. So look, we'll get tying, we'll go through it and see what you think, and I hope you enjoy. Right guys, so we have our little olive goosebite nymph here in the vise, as you can see it. See a lovely body on it, lovely mix of dubbing for the thorax, a little bit of a pearl flash over, and a slight little collar in behind the bead, hotspot collar. So we'll go through it here. So for this we're going to use a size 16 jig hook, and with a 3.5mm copper bead. Normally this would be probably the heaviest I go on these type of nymphs. You can go right down to 2 mils. They do get a little bit tricky to tie the smaller you go, but with practice and time you'll get them. So we just get our Kevlar on, work our way down. This nymph can be fished on your pint fly or your dropper. I find it very effective on both. So we're just going to use some Cockleon. We're just going to be 3 or 4 strands. That's plenty. So what we do now is we'll get our goosebites. So this is a light olive goosebite. Now with the goosebite, this is this is one of the first 2 steps that's kind of important in tying your goosebites. For those that don't know, and even I still continue to make the little bit of mistake, and it's very easy to do. But when you're taking off your goosebite off your main body stem, you want to hold the goosebite away from you with the natural curvature of the goosebites facing away from you, and pull the nearest goosebite to you, pull it off the main stem, pull it towards you, and keep it like that in front of you, so the natural curvature is facing down towards the table. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull it in underneath the hook, never on top, in underneath, and I'll show you why in a second. And you're just going to tie that up, and I'm going to pull the goosebite to the side, so the curvature side is actually facing me, where if I tie that on top, it would be facing the camera, facing yourselves. So what we'll do now is just make a little bit of a taper on the body for the goosebite. Now, what we're going to do next, which I found Started fishing these about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, on the River Nore, and I found my biggest problem was I was tying loads of them because I was going through loads of them. I tried using wires and to lock down the goose bite on the body, but it was either cutting the body or not, kind of taking away from the natural segment look of the body. So what we're going to use is I have my double needle and a little bit of super glue. Now we're just going to rub some of that along the top of around the body on top of the Kevlar thread. Make sure to wipe off your needle. Don't let that super glue dry in. Now, the next important part of doing your goose bite, I like to use hack pliers for this stage because trying to do it by hand sometimes doesn't work, especially when there's super glue involved. So what you want to make sure is that there's no twists in your goose bite. And what you're going to do is go underneath the hook and back around to you, so kind of anti-clockwise. First turn, always be gentle on the first turn, and then you can be have a little bit more restraint on it as you go. Now, as you see, I'm kind of overlapping the last bit of and you can space these out depending on the length of your goose bite. This one was a little bit short. It should be okay. Now, if I hadn't have gone under the body and went anti-clockwise and I went clockwise, what would have happened was, you see these natural little stems sticking up. They're the edges of the goose bite, and they're like little mini. If they were underneath a magnifying glass, you'd see natural tailings as such, or little tips that stick up from the edge of the goose bite. Where if I'd went clockwise, what would happen was the flat part of the goose bite would have actually sat down on top of them, and they wouldn't be shown. So the natural segment look of the goose bite wouldn't have came through. So always make sure that you take off your goose bite from your main feather, and don't turn it or twist it. Put the tip with the goose bite, the natural curvature of the goose bite facing down towards the table. And what you do then is make sure you tie it in underneath the hook. With the tip facing, with the curvature facing down, tie it underneath the hook, and then lock it in. And then, without twisting your hack pliers, or if you're doing it by hand, try not to twist the feather or the bite. And you should 90% of the time have to go anti-clockwise. But always, if you find you've done after 1 or 2 turns that you're actually flattening those little mini fibres that should be coming up to show that natural segment body, just stop, go back, and go the opposite way. You might have just put it in wrong or turned as you're putting it in. So we're going to use now some number 14 Uni Mylar Pearl for the thorax cover, and we're just going to tie that in, and we're going to go back a nice little bit there. The light's a little bit, with the camera you have to be careful. So we have that in. Don't be, obviously the goose bite was a little bit short, but for this it'll be okay. But always make sure you go back a good bit with your pearl, because sometimes you find that you think you have it tied in and you put in your dubbing and you pull over your thorax cover and there's only a small bit of your mylar shown. So always go back that bit more, because when you pull it forward it'll actually lift off the body. You think you're covering a lot of body here, but you're actually not once your dubbing goes in. So what I have here is a little bit of a squirrel dubbing. It's a mix between hair, kind of red fox squirrel, and natural squirrel. It's kind of a nice dark kind of spiky dubbing that I have mixed up. So what I'll use for here is I'll use a little bit of dubbing wax, just a small bit on the thread, and I'll wind that on, or dub that on, sorry. You can change your thoraxes, you can go lighter, you can go darker, you can go olives if you like, but I have found this, even a dark hair will do perfect. You don't need to have it as mixed as I am, but a squirrel, even some squirrel dubbing mixed with some hare's ear dubbing will work perfectly. You'll get that spiky effect that we're going to get now in a few minutes. So just hold up the mylar and we'll work back in against it and then work forward. Build a nice, just take your time putting it on. Nice taper thorax. You see a nice bit of spikiness happening already. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull our thorax cover right forward with a little bit of tension on it, and we're going to lock it in. So you're pulling it forward, try pull it into that slot on the slot bead, and your Kevlar thread should lock it right down into place. What we'll do now is we'll just give it a whip finish. And you get your trusty dubbing brush or toothbrush, and we'll brush all those fibres down. Just straight down, that's all you have to do. Get that nice leggy effect underneath. Now, as you've seen at the very start with the flying device, we had a little collar behind the bead. So what I'm using here is a number 14 Tommy Fly UV reflective thread from the shop. Very nice stuff to work with. So you can use Glow-Brite or any other reflective UV reflective thread you have. This is a lovely orange. It's kind of a halfway between a bright orange and a kind of a hot red or a flame orange. And it goes quite well on this. But mix about, try a few different colours coming up during June and July. I find kind of a hot flame red kind of works well the first 2 or 3 weeks in June, and then kind of moving more towards an orange colour as you come into July and August. So we have that in, we have our waist cut off. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to, you could use a little bit of resin if you wanted. I'm just going to use a small little bit of super glue along the Tommy Fly. You don't want a big collar here. Just a nice tight little collar in behind the bead. And there you have it. That's your tungsten or your light olive goosebite nymph. And your little flashback thorax on it. See, when you go back that a little bit further, you're able to you get a nice little bit of thorax cover and kind of pearl flash standing out on your fly. So don't be afraid to go back that little bit further, and you have a lovely segmented body and your natural dubbing. And what you can do with these as well is, if you don't want to go back as far, or if you can get longer goose bites off of your goose bite feather, is don't do your hotspot and come up the body a little bit and start a little bit further up, work your way in behind the bead, and even after you put your flashback cover on, even just put a little bit more dubbing there instead of that after you've locked down your mylar, and it'll cover up that little bit of a gap before you would finish off. But they're a lovely little fly. Try them in multiple different colours of goose bites and different thoraxes. But that's one of my go-to flies for the summer months. It never kind of leaves my cast during June, July. I always have them in mostly copper, dark copper beads, but always have them in 2 or 3 different UV reflective or hotspot colours. So give it a go. Hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the rest of the night. I hope you enjoyed all the weekly sessions so far for the year, and tight lines out on the water, guys. Be safe. Until next time, bye bye.
I know Thanks a million, Mark. Forgot to sound there for a second. Was getting good at it there. But that was a cracking fly. I got some amount of fish on that fly last year once I nicked it out of Mark's box. Great style of tying Mark has, and he's a fantastic guy. I know he's a big part of the business here, our little business here. But without him, we'd be lost. So big thanks to Mark for all his help throughout the year, and hope you all enjoyed that one. So we're coming near to the end of the show. We've got one more bonus fly. Now we're dragging on a bit tonight. One more bonus fly. I want to give away this our new Pescari fly, Euro Nympholine. We spent all last year working on it. So it's a competition Nympholine, we call it. It's a flat level line, which is very important when you're Euro Nymph. It's got to be flat level, no belly in it, so there's no sag there. It's 0.55 mil in diameter. Grain orange. And we have a loop on there, a very fine loop on there as well. Now I want to give that away. So here's the question: it's not on our website yet, okay? Now we put it into a cardboard sleeve rather than sticking it into a nice fancy box and putting a plastic. More waste. We don't like to use a lot of waste here in the shop, so we try and recycle everything we can, reuse everything we can. This is a cardboard envelope, a nice hardened cardboard envelope to protect the fly line. And when you throw it in the bin, it is recyclable. So there's no plastic, big plastic, fancy plastic. Save a couple of euros to you guys too, which is very important. What we like to do here. Save a couple of euros and give you the best gear at the best price we can. So I want you to tell me, what price is it? First person to tell me on my feed what price is the fly line, and I'm going to give you a clue. It's over 30 euros and it's under 40 euros. That's the clue. First person to give me the correct price on that, over, Darius. I said over 30, under 40, Darius. No, again, Darius. Two guesses, Darius, wrong. Over 30 and under 40. Michael Carroll. Michael Carroll is first up there. Michael Carroll, 35 euros. Well done, Michael Carroll. I'm going to write you down here in sheet. Michael Carroll. Dave Coughlin, you're right too, but sorry, Dave. Michael Carroll was in there first. Michael, I will be in touch with you very soon, and I'll get you the brand new Pescari fly Euro Nympholine off the It's a Cracking Line. Fished with it all last year. Absolutely deadly. And a good price too. You know, I say we feel that, you know, when it comes to gear and lines here in Pescari, that, you know, we don't need to, you know, especially when it comes to Euro Nympholine lines, like it's there to balance, it's there to do a certain job. We don't need it to be all fancy and cost a lot of money. So Robbie said, he said 35 there first. I said on my feed, Robbie, I could go back and double check that, but on my feed, because we are crossed path to several pages, and my feed is the main page. My feed is the main page. And the first up my feed is the right person. And I'm just going back here to check. So first guess was Darius at 25. Second guess was Darius at 22. Third guess was Patrick McCarthy at 28.50. Third guess was Jared Lennon. Michael Carroll was the first person at 35. I have the main feed. All the pages are cross-pathing into my feed, and I see the first person by microseconds probably. Robbie, sorry about that there now. But I tell you what, Robbie, I've one other little spot prize I've left here, and you have been a fantastic contributor to the show over the last couple of the last month. You've been on here every night. You've given us great support here in Pescari Fly over the years too, and for that I have a little fly box here for you, a little lanyard, double-sided, waterproof fly box. And Robbie, that's on its way to you Monday morning. So thanks a million, Robbie. Really appreciate all the support, and really appreciate everyone's support over the last winter. It's been a long, hard winter on everybody, and you know, it's all you guys and girls that have made it bearable for us. So thanks a million to everyone. So we're going to do this last one. This is a nymph. The first kind of flies we see on the river this time of the year are the large dark olives, and this nymph is based on the nymph of a large dark olive. So I got a curved, which is a claw C4 WBL in the vice there, and I put on a little bit of cocktail on. I got a 3.5 mil slot or countersunk tungsten bead on it. Our last fly, and I'm going to run through it as quick as I can for you guys, because I know you're all dying to go to bed. I have to clean up this mess. I have some pictures of the mess that does be left this room which is the upstairs of the shop. So shop is downstairs. I'm in the upstairs loft, and it's it does be in some mess after Saturday night, I can tell you. But and I have to go clean it up. So I'm adding in a little bit of white trabuco here. Okay, so I used to use a white wire for this, kind of an off-white wire. And then I seen Gianluca Piala there tying some nymphs there last year with white trabuco, and I use white trabuco for a lot of my leaders and stuff like that. And I started using white trabuco then for doing the ribbon of this fly, and I found it fantastic. Secured in well. It can be a bit slippy, so I do put a lot of pressure, pressure on there with that Kevlar. Now I actually started with the wrong thread, but that's okay. I can whip finish that off, take away the Kevlar, and actually go to my dark olive. Okay, so this dark olive, it is a UTC thread as far as I'm aware, an old UTC thread. Labels are well worn off it now, and I can add that back in there now. Habit, I just grabbed that Kevlar because I tie so many flies with it. Bring it down there. Really good early season flies when those large dark olives are starting to show up, which they should be on some rivers now. Just get a nice big decent taper on that body coming up. Get your white trabuco. Or indeed if you got white wire. Now if you don't have white wire trabuco, you can use the likes of white Tommy fly and stuff like that. Mightn't be as strong or as defined as white trabuco. But when I'm ribbing this, I'm putting a lot of pressure on that. Don't release the pressure. If you release the pressure, your rib will come asunder. Get it up there into that gap where the thorax is going to be. Oh, I hit that. I think that was the first time that's after happening. I hit that. The thread bobbin and that thread is a little bit looser than the Kevlar thread bobbin, and there's a bit more thread out than I'd like. I'll start in a minute. Take the pressure off the rib and put the pressure onto the thread bobbin to hold everything in place. Get another couple of turns. As you can see, once again, now I moved a little bit on me. But it's okay because my thorax is going to come back there. The main ribbon that I want actually that's going to be left showing after the fly is finished is still intact. So the last turn coming up to the bead there moved a little bit on me, but it's going to be okay because the thorax is going to be going down back over that anyway. It's always worth your while completing the rib the whole way up along. Now here I've got a little bit of tin skin. Okay, Waspy tin skin. We got it in shop below as well, and really, really good stuff for doing the likes of blue-winged olive bodies and stuff like that. It comes on a piece of card. You trim it out, take the card off, and you're left with this lovely molted tin skin. Depending on the color you use underneath it, will depend on will vary the finished effect of the fly. So if I was doing a blue-winged olive, I would use primrose underneath it and then wrapped it up the body. It's a fantastic material to use. And I'm going to use it here as a thorax cover. So I'm just going to taper down the butt section slightly. I'm actually going to taper down a little bit more than that. Once I kind of added it up there. I seen that was still a bit on the heavy side. Much better. And then we're going to come back down to where I want the thorax start. So you can see now I've come back down onto that rib. Where a little bit of a slip was. Now, for the thorax here, I got a little bit of our Haynes Spectra 46. And I'm going to put a little bit of dubbing in there. Just want to taper that a little bit tighter. There we go. I'm going to add just another little pinch of that dubbing there up near the head. Good stuff, Robbie. Kieran, no, we wouldn't be that bad now, Kieran. It is a good line, though, folks. It is a good line. We actually got a few new lines coming out. We got a 3-weight way forward. We got a 5-weight way forward floating lines. We got a few new lines. We were working on them last year. And we got them coming out this year for you guys. So watch out for all that kind of stuff. We got lots of new stuff coming for this season. Because we've got so much support from you guys. We keep adding to the business here. We don't take anything out of it for ourselves. Everything that comes in goes straight back into the business to improve the business, to try and offer better products and better service to everyone. So watch out for all that. It's coming. So I'm going to tie off that thread there now. Quite a simple fly. Sometimes I add in some partridge legs into that. Sometimes I don't. Find them quite as effective as each other. And I give that dubbing a bit of a brush out. And that is quite decent enough for me as regards providing the leg. Really, really good early season. When those large dark olives are coming off, it is lethal. Absolutely lethal. A white rib is fantastic. The picture there, it's not bad, but it's not bad. For the thorax then, I'm going to just give it a bit of a UV reflective number 16, Tommy fly. Just for a little hot collar up there. Just to get those trout interested there, sitting in darker, deeper water. We've finished it off. And there we have it. The last of our early season patterns. The last fly for our live shows in 2020/2021. What a winter it's been. Thanks Nano, thanks Sorka, thanks Des. Really effective fly. The white rib, and certainly credit has to go to Gianluca Piala for that there. I used to use a white wire, but I seen him trying some stuff with white trabuco and spoke to him about it. And definitely is a fantastic against the dark olive. Really, really effective pattern. There's 4 flies that I'm going to be fishing Wednesday. On Wednesday evening, I'm going to put up a little bit of a post and I hope so, Robbie. I really do hope so. Robbie reckons that when lockdown ends, prepared for a couple of 100 anglers coming to Kilkenny. Well, these are all very welcome to my house, my home. We'll have a bit of fun. Whoever makes it down for the fishing, the barbecue, or a few beers afterwards, you're very welcome. We'll do a bit of fly tying that evening, have a bit of fun, very relaxed. It's just an open invitation to someone's home. Really appreciate everything that you guys have said and done and contributed over the entire winter months. There's a fantastic group of people. I will miss you every Saturday night, there's no doubt about it. I will check in on you, and I want you to also check in on me. And I think it's very important going forward here, guys and girls, that it's a tough time we live in. We don't get a lot of support from our government or any other organisations in that sense as regards from the state. So we got to look after each other, and as an angling body, I think we've shown over the last couple of weeks how we can come together, especially with the likes of losing Alan and things like that happening. So I think we need to keep that going forward. I think we need to keep ourselves as a collective of people that respect each other and look after each other and be open with each other and reach out to each other if we need help. And by all means, if anybody out there needs anything at all, my number's up on my website, my number's on my Facebook page. Pick up the phone and ring me. If I can help you, I can help you. If I can't, I'll be in here for half an hour and you can shoot your ear off me, no problem at all. And if I'm ever struggling, you'll see a live show, a thing for a live show coming up, an ad saying we might do a live show Saturday or something. But I'd certainly reach out to people too. So please, by all means, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for everything you've given me over the winter. All the support you give Pescari Fly, it means so much to me. I'm not even reading the comments here now. I'm just going to talk to the screen. But it really does mean a lot to myself and Deirdre and the kids and Mark and everyone else that's involved with Pescari Fly. It's a small little home family-run business. We're kind of very detailed in what we do. We try to offer the best customer service whenever we can. And it's been a fantastic winter talking to you all and being a part of your lives. So with that said, I'm going to say goodnight to you all for the last time. I'm going to see you all for sure in October. The first Saturday night in October, we'll be back live, 8:30 Saturday night with a whole brand new show, a whole new gimmicks and gadgets to show you. Lots of hot tips, lots of fly tying, lots of tackle talk, lots of new special guests and everything like that. Good luck. Thanks to all the winners tonight. Thanks to everyone who took part. Thanks to everybody who contributed over the last 20 odd weeks. It's been a whirlwind, but all good things have to come to an end. The fishing season's about to start. I want everyone to be positive. We should have a lot of flies now tied over the winter to use on Wednesday going forward. Spring is in the air, as Ken Woodward started off the show with tonight. Great way to start the show. Spring is in the air. It's time to look up, look forward, smile, and look forward to the fishing season. I'm going to be at Wednesday. I'll send you all a little report on Facebook Wednesday and let you know how I get on. Which of those 4 platforms caught me the most fish. And they are up for grabs tomorrow. Don't forget, folks. I'll put something up there tomorrow, and it'll be something there for someone to win tomorrow. So I'm going to say good night to you all. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Happy Mother's Day to all the mammies out there for tomorrow. My own mammy and my wife included. And take care, everyone, and be safe. And don't forget, if you need anything in fly fishing and fly tying, check out www.scaryfly.com. We're always here on the end of the phone for advice, and we'll offer the best service we can. So good night, everyone, and take care, and thank you all so much. I'll find out there. I'm trying to click now between all the buttons. End screen. There we go. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend. Hey, Davey. I'm fucked after that. I tell you, any fucking's like after running the fucking marathon. Yeah, so look at the fucking. It went on a bit long, but so we dragged it out a little bit extra tonight just for the fucking crack of it. Yeah, it's so fucking makes sense. You're time enough in there. Yeah, time enough, yeah. It gives us all a chance to have a bit of banter again about pennies.